Hi there guys, Sam here, welcome back to another video. Join me once again in my Mk7 Golf R to talk a little bit about economy, miles per gallon, fuel efficiency of the car over the course of my ownership now that we're in towards the end of December 2020. So yeah, I'll get straight into this video really. Yes, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all well. And yeah, I appreciate economy and MPG isn't necessarily something that everyone wants to hear about. And particularly if you have a performance car, maybe that's not the top, your first priority. But if you want to use a car every day, like a Golf R, for example, can be used every day, it's something that is quite important, particularly if you start loading up the miles. Now, I've done economy updates in the past a few years ago, actually, and I'll put a link just above me if you want to check that out, just to see how my opinion compares and how things were going. But yeah, I'll kind of give you an idea over the last 3.5 years of where it's kind of been at. So, I purchased this car in June 2017. It's a April 2017 car. I got it 3 months old as an ex-demo with just over 1,200 miles on the clock. So basically it'd been running. That was the idea. And I have to say, as the miles have built up, naturally the economy has got better. And actually the performance has felt like it's got better. I think people underestimate that engines do take some time to actually get themselves bed in. My car is sitting on 30,695 miles, and I would say, yeah, it feels pretty strong. It doesn't feel like it's dropped off or anything. The idea that as a car gets older, things start falling apart, everything starts getting worse. I think it's the complete opposite, to be honest. I think new cars take time to sort themselves out. Now, over that period of time, just to be completely honest with the economy I get, this car holds a 55 litre tank. Whether I fill it up with super unleaded or from a supermarket or 99 octane, say Tesco Momentum is the one that I use, realistically I get around the same miles. And I know this car is good for, generally however I drive, between 350 and 400 miles. And that's been pretty consistent over the 30,000 miles that I've done. So that always gives me an idea that I've always got the range with me. Now, if I do a really long journey, as I've done in the past, and you are cruising, even 60 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour if you're speed limited in the UK, I've seen close to 500 miles. So it's really, really impressive from a 2 litre engine and with 300 horsepower in what is quite a heavy car due to the Haldex system. I think that's quite cool, and I'm going to switch for you guys to my little GoPro and just show you kind of what the long-term MPG is, just as we're at currently. So yeah, on the GoPro you can see there's the economy, well there's the mileage of the car, 30,695, 1 degree outside, it's absolutely freezing as you can see from the frosted windscreen. Yeah, and conveniently in VWs you get a nice, you get nice displays on economy and all that kind of stuff. So long-term MPG, so out of 1,165 miles, 33 hours of driving, averaging 35 miles an hour. Average has been 32.8, and that's pretty good. It's also got a cool little car, which, as it gets closer, you're running out of fuel, which I always thought was quite quirky. I think the Germans do have their own way of sense of humour, but I found that funny. Moving across, since refuelling, and again this is on par, 208 miles, average 29 miles per hour, average MPG 30.1, giving me 160 miles left to a tank. That would make about, 368 miles. So right in between, and this car has just been basically sitting, not really, getting the drives it wants in 2020, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll have to check, but I've probably done less than maybe 3,000 miles just because I've not been going into work and obviously with lockdown and stuff. So yeah, I still think that's pretty good that it can still whack out a decent economy. And as you see, it's 1 degree outside, so it's pretty cold. The other cool thing on the economy side is actually you've got this Think Blue trainer, which is really, really cool. And it basically just gives you training tips on economy. Again, I know Golf R owners might not really care less about this, but here I am talking about it, so there you go. And I do think there is a part of people who do find this stuff really interesting and important, as I mentioned at the start. So look, take it easy and safe, think ahead when driving, change up early and fill up later. just let it roll, use the overrun to cut off fuel, comfort high, fuel consumption low, use convenience, consumers in moderation. That's interesting. See, look at that, you've got this whole description of what to do. Basically, it's just like, don't sit on full whack aircon or whatever like that, if you can avoid it. You know, it burns fuel for no reason. Like it says about the coasting. I love coasting in this. You know, this is a 6-speed manual, as you can see here. And as a result, it's actually got very short gearing. You know, 6th gear, it's revving. I'd say it's revving about at 70 miles an hour. It's just under 3,000 RPM, probably 2,800, which is quite high. Bear in mind, 70 miles an hour is the, you know, is the cruising speed on a UK motorway. So DSG will probably do a little bit better on that front. But yeah, you get like, just let it roll, blah, blah, blah. Savings are in the air. Check the tyre pressures. Basic things people never do. It has the tyre pressures. If I actually open the door, probably start binging at me. Just there. Which is cool. Just to tell you what it should be. Again, that's cool. And it's got loads. Save with a warm engine. Your engine uses the most fuel when cold. So if you avoid short journeys and make one journey to run several errands, your engine will reach its optimal operating temperature in terms of consumption. Letting the engine warm up increases fuel consumption. True. Well oiled. The soon as blah, 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 this is especially important when starting from a cold journey. Blah, blah. I guess that kind of means make sure it has an oil and filter service every year, which mine does. Reduce air resistance. Yeah, don't have a roof box on your car or stuff like that. Yeah, don't put extra weight in the car, all this kind of stuff. But that's really, really cool. But what it does, what I love most about this is on the move, you'll get given like a blue score. It's all in light blue, which is a much more calming kind of colour. And you get like your MPG, you get how good you're doing, and you actually see it in real time how well the car is kind of coping. So I'll turn off the the smaller GoPro there. I think for economy wise this is perfect, and this is actually one of the reasons why I was able to actually get the car, because I knew I was still good doing the miles, I knew I was still travelling decent distances, and you know, I didn't want to spend any more than I had to on fuel. Okay, if you're really, really worried about fuel, you could get a GTD. But that's not really the point of this video. This is just to tell you where the Mk7 Golf R is at. And I think particularly in the YouTube world, people don't hang on to their cars that long. And well, with me, I do. As you can see, it's the start of the channel. I've had this car and I still have it now. And I don't really have any intention of getting rid of it because I love it. It is nice to have the range. It is nice when you go on a road trip that you can have that sort of ability. I think the settings in the car really do help because you can turn off the valves and you can turn off the sound imposer. Something I couldn't do in my Fiesta ST. It was the sound imposer made a great sort of racy noise. It was brilliant for fun. But when you just wanted to get home, it didn't half like do your ears in. Whereas with this, you can have it in race mode. You can have all the noise and have some fun. You can have it in individual mode, so you can have the exhaust, but you don't have as much noise in the cabin. Or you can just stick it in eco. Lightens up the steering, dulls the throttle response. You know, it's just a lot more relaxing. You can have that blue on the dash, which again just calms the whole car. And listen, you'll live longer for it because your heart rate will be a lot lower. And that's another thing that I just think is a really good thing. You take advantage of the Golf platform having such, you know, refined qualities. And you can just cruise. You can be relaxed. You might be 2 minutes later to your destination as a result, but you'll be far more chilled out when you get there. So that's just my side of things, and this car can be used for that kind of purpose. Yeah, I've always loved it. I think economy for mine's probably slightly better because I think in a manual 3-door form, it's slightly lighter than a 5-door DSG car. I think that helps it. I don't tend to carry around loads of rubbish in the car, although at the moment I'm sort of using my car as a bit of a storage. Another good thing for the car, because its boxy shape does allow for that. But in short, economy's been really, really good. If you really want to try, when I first started driving the car and I was petrified because I'd spent X amount of money on it, I was like, I'm going to take this easy. You know, I was 60 miles an hour, I was slower lane, I was, you know, drafting behind lorries and stuff like that. Not necessarily a good idea if you don't want stone chips. And yeah, I was comfortably sort of like 40, 45 mpg, over 400 miles to a tank. Now I'm a little bit more relaxed and chilled out with the car. I don't do that as much, but just from my normal driving, listening to the advice that I've just kind of gone through, yeah, the car is economical. And I'd be really interested to know from any GTI owners, particularly the one with the Mark 7 with 220 horsepower, what sort of economy you're kind of getting. Because I wonder, with that 80 horsepower less and obviously less weight with the four-wheel drive, does that improve economy? I imagine it does. Does it outweigh not having 80 horsepower and having two rear wheels giving you traction? Is another debate for another day. But in short, economy really, really good. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with it. But listen, thanks so much for watching. Drop a comment. I know so many R owners or GTI owners or VW Golf owners sort of a part of the channel, which is great. Let me know sort of your economy in the comments below. Particularly if you've had the car long term, it'd be really interested to see if it's comparable with mine. Appreciate some people will just use this as a little bit of a fun tool, in which case, yes, 250 miles per tank is probably more likely. But yeah, it is just how you drive it, and yeah, I absolutely love it. And I actually think the Golf platform has that more refined, under the radar look. Showed the blue dials on the screen. You get a blue light across here. You get that sort of calming influence. I know it can be a bit dull with some of the bits, but I've seen it with the Mark 8 GTI. Red dash, which you can't really change, as in red dials on the infotainment screen. That red is an aggressive colour, and for me, I think that, in, you know, just as a human natural reaction, it can kind of stress you out and encourage you to drive a bit harder. Whereas this car, it doesn't when you don't want it to, and when you do, you can have your fun. I still think it's brilliant. I still pinch myself that I've been able to have this car for the last 3.5 years and had 30,000 miles in it, and share it with you guys as well, because the community is great around this car. So that's really, really cool. Listen, thanks so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this little update. Drop a comment as always. Give this video a like, share, subscribe. That helps a smaller channel, particularly if you're into these kind of cars. It does make a huge difference. And yeah, I'll see you again next time for another video. And I've got quite a few sort of Mark 7 Golf R related updates on this car to come in the coming days. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.